what many may call a high school dropout, because I decided to drop out of high school Form 1. When I was looking at my life then, and I'm looking at my life now, even my relatives say I've made a whole 360. Because I was the child who no one saw a future of. I can say I would not be where I am right now if it weren't for those 2 years. I've learned how to look at money as not something that I need, but something that I deserve. One thing that I thank God I've never had to do is sell a story that's not me. It's not always about that paycheck.
Shawn has publicly declared he cannot do a 9 to 5. Shawn, what's wrong with a 9 to 5?
People say a 9 to 5 is security, but you can get fired. So is it really security or is it comfort? Comfort of knowing even if I don't work, I'll still get money at the end of the month. Oh, black tax it's never been applied to me. And I feel like maybe that's what very many Kenyans would be going through, where you feel the need to give back home because they invested in you. However, for me, I've not been brought up in such an environment where I need to. I don't need to.
Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of LNS. My name is Lynn Ngugi, and as always, we get to meet for another thought-provoking conversation where we get to do the 3 things we are doing this year. We are learning and learning and relearning. And oh my guest today is just a perfect example of what I've been saying about Gen Zs. I feel the reason why Gen Zs are with us today, and please don't even correct me on this one, it's because they were sent to us to teach us how to, honestly, teach us those 3 things. They are helping us learn, unlearn, and relearn. These are the people who are honestly teaching us how to live, how not to live, how to take care of yourself. The things that we millennials and previous generations have prioritized, these people are not even prioritizing those things. Their peace of mind is more important. And when I hear even my guests today say, Lynn, me, I cannot work a 9 to 5, I'm like, oh my God, Shawn, what are you doing? I've spent most of my career life working 9 to 5, and I would love to know, why would he not consider that? What has he experienced? And also, what are his future goals for such an incredible young man? And honestly, I'm about to let him introduce himself so that he can be able to walk us through his journey, his learning and relearning moments. But before I do that, kindly allow me to say thank you to our partners of today's conversation, Kings Developers Limited. I have spoken about them now for a while on the show, and I've said, if you're looking into owning an apartment with an ISO certified real estate company, why don't you try my people at Kings Developers Limited, especially Vintage. If you're into the Airbnb business, check out Vintage Apartments. That's a good investment plan for you, and all the other apartments that they have. And also to say thank you so much to my team that gets to put this work together. Over and over, I say you get to see me in front of the camera, but it takes an entire team to be able to put this work together. And also you guys for subscribing and supporting our work and being active participants of these conversations. I do not take you for granted. Shout out to our fans in South Africa, UK, Uganda. I see you, I acknowledge you, and everyone that gets to watch this from all different walks of life. And now, of course, without further ado, please allow me to let my guest today introduce himself. I said your name. Shawn!
Hi, Lee.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm easy. I'm easy. Today, I get to speak to you, so I get to be younger me. I'm easy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shawn Dalmas. I'm a content creator, a lifestyle content creator. I'm a student. I'm a brand influencer, I'm a media entrepreneur, and I'm a youth advocate.
Yes. Beautiful. And before I spoke to you off camera, I would have been like, how are you so many things? How are you all those things? And what would your response have been to me?
There's no time that is stipulated for you to do certain things. Yes.
This is your time.
This is my time. I remember even today morning I was watching a TikTok and it was saying, when it's your time, no one can stop it. when God decides that's your time to flourish, no one can stop it. Yeah, so I believe and feel like this is my time to do what I was meant to do. And I don't see why I should wait for a certain age for me to do it. I have a dream. I might as well make it a reality. Yes.
What does that dream look like?
For me, my dream is impacting lives through media in any way possible. And that looks like whether through content. I'll narrow it down specifically to a brand that I work with, CeraVe, where I've tried to champion authenticity, especially in the male gender, in doing skincare and taking care of yourself, you know? And that has been my mantra for a long time. And moving forward, I see myself taking my youth advocacy, you know, championing for youths to take up leadership spaces and etc. In media, because the best tool that has ever been given to the Gen Zs is media. We've grown up in it, we are going through it, and the best thing we can do with it, if this is the asset that we were born with, we might as well make the best out of it.
Great. And this is not an ad.
Yes.
They also invoice me for this, but no, that's a joke. But shout out CeraVe for trusting you with their product, because we don't get to see this, because you actually worked with them before people could consider you, quote unquote, an influencer.
Yes.
When it comes to giving opportunities to people who the society might not think these are the people who should be getting these opportunities, well, what do you say around that?
One thing, that's a very interesting question, because I was having a conversation with my mentor recently, and he was talking about the fact that they grew up, or rather your generation grew up, where opportunities were given to specific people. Like, if you want this person to do this ad, there's always that one person that we know. Or if you want this person to do this campaign, you only know, so you guys grew up with the mentality that certain opportunities are stipulated for certain people. And that's another narrative I'm trying to change, where, considering my age, I'm 20. I got into a space where people that I'm working with are 28, 29, 30, 31, those ages. And when I would say my age, and that's why I've been perambulating my age a lot on my page, it's because I'm trying to sell the narrative that not all opportunities need to be given to people of a certain age, a certain gender, a certain social class, a certain etc., or rather any demographic that you people have in their heads, those are the opportunities that should be given to them.
How was that like for you when they trusted you with the product, which is working? By the way, your skin is flawless.
I survive on
I don't
CeraVe.
use the products, but honestly, I'll be honest,
send you a package.
I don't use much.
I'll send you a package
on my face, right? So I do my lipstick and I do my sunscreen, right? But I'm looking at how beautiful your skin. It's an age thing.
Maybe.
What the heck? Show is over. I feel so old.
No.
The product is working. How is it when they trusted you with the opportunity?
I remember when I started out in CeraVe, I was so clueless what this world is, the world of content, the world of brand, the world of selling products. Because as much as, yes, we're trying to, we're influencing people to buy the products so that they sell more, right? But over the years, I'm about to clock in 3 years working with the brand. And over the 2 years that I've worked with the brand, it's been spectacular and I have grown. If there's a space where I've felt that's nurtured my growth, I felt seen, I felt heard, and my work has felt appreciated by a brand, by someone, it's through the CeraVe skincare line. That team is immensely great in my journey that I've gone through.
And I'm gonna use them as an example for so many things, because this is an influencing journey. And personally, their campaigns I have had to say no to. Honestly, I say no to a lot of campaigns because I'm not of the opinion that my job is to give leads, and I know that is what a lot of people will demand from you. We are entrusting you with this product, we're entrusting you with this sponsorship, and we want leads the next day. And I'm like, that's not how it works. The customers have have to grow with you.
Yes.
I have to see Shawn's face. I have to actually love it. And I have to say, Lynn, how about you get yourself a CeraVe, right?
Yes.
Because I feel like it has to be a convincing journey.
Yes,
but I've
it is.
also seen a couple of influencers who have been used by some of these sponsors, right? And they've been out there and they also talking about how they've not been paid and how some of these things, like how the demands are too high, and some people have had to change their own authenticity so that they can fit into a brand or a product, right? For you, has it been different, and what made it different?
That's a very interesting and very in-depth question, actually.
Old and wise.
No, one thing that I thank God I've never had to do is sell a story that's not me. And that also comes about where I've ever been offered a deal, actually, with a Kenyan-based brand to sell something. Let's just use a general, to sell something that does not in any way possible look like me or what I represent or what my lifestyle entails. And I thank God that I've never put myself in that position. And I feel like that's an advice that very many influencers should take into account, where it's not always about that paycheck. It's not always about that paycheck, because I will use this whole samba thing that has been going on. Yes, this whole samba thing. And when I made a video responding to one particular person, I said, I am trying to sell authenticity, where I'm not buying counterfeit products, I'm buying the original product. And it went beyond the whole samba situation. I was trying to touch on the basis where influencers should be able to stand firm in what they're trying to portray. Because if I go and tell my followers who trust me with the CeraVe products and what I sell or what I represent, and they go and buy the products, me knowing very well the products don't work, quote unquote, and they go and buy it, they'll come back and say, Shawn told us to buy and it's not working.
True story.
You get me?
Yeah.
So one thing that I feel like influencers and also more so Gen Z influencers, the check doesn't really matter. It matters with what you're trying to build and where you're trying to go as an influencer and where you're trying to take your content. Because if you're just looking at the now, what about tomorrow? What about if you work with this brand and a bigger brand would be willing to work with you, but they don't work with you because you took this paycheck? You get my point?
Yes.
So we need to stop looking at brands and content just on the face front and look at them in depth and try and understand, if I work with this brand, what does it do to my next brand? What does it do to my next opportunity? What does it do to my personal brand? Because every brand that you work with, every brand that I've worked with has built me up to become Shawn Dalmas and will build me up to continue being the Shawn Dalmas that I'm trying to create. But if Gen Z influencers don't see that or don't try and analyze that in their content and as they're building themselves, you're not going anywhere.
It's gonna be tough.
Yes, it's gonna be tough.
I love what you said. It's not just about the paycheck, which got me thinking then, how is your relationship with money? Maybe from a Gen Z's perspective, because in a country where people are going through a lot, people will be tempted to go for the next check and the next check and the next check, right? And we have different relationships with money. Some people even idolize money, right? So maybe for you, what's money to you, and how do you differentiate between money and wealth?
Now, forgive me if this sounds a little bit speaking from a privileged point of view, but I've, over the years, I'd say in my teenage years and as I'm going into my adulthood, I've learned how to look at money as not something that I need, but something that I deserve. Let me explain.
Wow.
I was having a conversation. I like having different in-depth conversation with just people. I was having a conversation with the director of another youth organization where we were planning on going for COP30 this year that's being held in Brazil. And I was telling him that, oh, just fix me up with the visa and everything, I'll pay for my own ticket. And he wanted to understand how is it I'm saying I'll pay for my own ticket. And I was trying to explain to him the fact that if you look at money as something that you cannot achieve, you will not achieve it. If you look at 1 million as something that you need years to achieve, my friend, it will take you years to achieve it. That's why I'm saying maybe I'm speaking from a point of privilege.
No, I don't think you are.
So now bringing it to the concept of my relationship with money.
Yes.
As much as the public is discussing the fact that I've grown up in generational wealth on my page, I haven't actually. I grew up at a time, I was born at a time when my parent was struggling because my dad walked out even before I was born. So my mom was struggling a lot. We used to live in Mombasa, in Mtwapa. I don't know if you know Mtwapa. Yes, and we were very much struggling. And we had relatives who could help, but they didn't. And I've seen my mom toil and work through giving me the life that I have now. And seeing how she's grown her wealth, seeing how she's grown money, seeing how she's come from a point where she didn't have it and now she has it. I've seen why it's not a need, but something you should be able to achieve. As I'm getting my 1, 2, 3 paychecks, I don't look at it as, oh, when I get this money, I'm going to go for this trip. Or when I get this money, I'm going to buy these new shoes. My friend, the sambas I bought from the dividends that came out from shares. That's why it was easy for me to go buy 2 sambas at that price.
Yes.
Exactly. So,
at 20K,
exactly. You get. So if you ask me my relationship with money, my relationship with money at the moment is I'm trying to build wealth and not rich. This is what I mean. Wealth is not what you see on the forefront. Wealth is not what people, the cars that people drive or the clothes that people wear. Wealth is the investment. Wealth is the years of work. Wealth is the bonds that they've bought, is the savings that they have. You get. So I don't look at a paycheck as something that I'm about to go spend. I look at a paycheck as something that I'm about to invest for my future, for the future of my kids, for the future that I'm trying to build. So, yeah.
Beautiful. I'm going to ask something and feel free not to answer because you mentioned you've grown up with your mom alone, with your dad absent, right?
Yes.
So, because I've been in that position where I'm like, okay, so I've had people speak, you know, I grew up in a single family. This is why I do what I do. There are a lot of excuses that you get to give in life simply because you grew up in a one-parent home.
One-parent home, yes.
One-parent home. And sometimes it's out of fear. I'm not able to achieve this, but there's a reason I'm not able to achieve this, right?
And it's because of how
and
you
it's
grew
because
up.
of how I grew up. Is that something that ever affected you? And if it did, how did you navigate that? And if it did not, what do you think were the opportunities or what did mom do to make you feel enough, even though you grew up in a one-parent parent home?
Now, this is very cool because it's actually the other way around, where I didn't feel like I cannot achieve. I was made to see my life like I cannot achieve. This is what I mean. My mom brought me up in the most loving home anyone can ever ask for. And she always made me believe and brought me up in an environment where anything you want, you can achieve. The reason I'm saying that is because I've had stories from my relatives that my grandparents died when my mom was 13. And that's where everything in their lives went a little bit downhill. And when I'm hearing the stories of how their dreams were tarnished, everything they want, the plans that they had for themselves were tarnished, and seeing how my mom was able to turn her life into what she has right now, that's why I can confidently say there's nothing I cannot achieve as long as I set my mind to it. Because this, and I like the way you've said it as an excuse, because that is an excuse. You cannot tell me because you grew up in a single parent house, you can't achieve this dream, you can't achieve this, because it's all about mindset. It's all about what you set yourself to achieve. I would say just because I didn't grow up with a dad, I can't, let's say, invest in a football team because I don't know anything about football, or I can't invest in cars because I didn't grow up with a dad to teach me about cars. Come on, we live in the world of internet. There are very many things that you can learn in YouTube without paying a dime, So again, that I would say is an excuse because you have, I feel like right now we live in an environment and world where all opportunities are at your disposal. It's a matter of how you look at it and how you tap into it. Because this narrative of I'll actually delve deeper by saying I don't believe in meritocracy, where this narrative that IQ plus effort and hard work equals success. That's a lie, because Kenya has shown us that you can have a D and be a governor or a cabinet secretary. You get my point? So this whole lie of meritocracy and that your brain and your hard work will take you to where you need to be, that's a lie. I believe that strategic planning and mindset gets you to where you are, because there are very many opportunities that would be presented to an A student and a C student. A C student would see this opportunity as a way of them benefiting, and this I mean like them owning, while an A student will see how can I help this C student achieve what they want. You get my point?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah. So this my mom brought me up in a very loving home where the sky was literally the limit. Like for me, I never felt as if there's this bar that I can't reach. No, everything for me was always at my disposal.
Did she affirm you? Why would she say things like, go son, do this and that? Would she sit you down and affirm you? And also there are people who say that growing up, even if you're growing up in a one parent household, sons need their fathers, but if their fathers are not present, sons need father figures. Did you have a father figure, and do you believe in that statement?
So here's the thing.
Yes.
I didn't grow up with my dad, and I didn't have a father figure up until I was 18. And my mom took on the role of my dad wholesomely. She never missed a mark. If it's discipline, nilichapwa vibaya sana.
Yes.
She took up the role of my dad very well in making sure that I'm growing up strong, I'm growing up independent, I'm growing, especially the independent part, seeing my mom growing with me and providing for me. You might call this ego, but it can't be ego because I've grown up with a woman.
Yes.
I cannot not be the breadwinner of my family. That cannot happen. It's so instilled in me because I've grown up with a parent who, by herself, something that society says she shouldn't, but she did it. You get my point?
Yes.
So my mom was always there to tell me, you got this. My mom was always there to tell me, you failed here, but this one, you can do it. My mom was always there to affirm me that just because this opportunity didn't come through does not mean the next one wouldn't. Just because I remember when I've been applying to universities recently, and I've gotten a couple of rejections, and my mom's first statement is, then that wasn't yours, that wasn't meant for you, because Shawn, what someone loses is someone else's gain. That has always been my mother's mantra about my life and my future, because she's always believed that there's nothing, I'm not destined for anything less than what she envisioned for me. So there was never a time she put me down saying that you're just a failure, or that would never happen.
Yes.
Yeah, because she knew the power that she had as a mother and also as a father, because my father wasn't there.
Yes.
The reason why I'm saying that my father figure came when I was 18 is because now at that point is when I realized I'm growing into a man. I'm growing into a man in a patriarchal society where when I go to spaces and say I was raised by a single mother, actually everyone looks at me like there's something wrong with my childhood. I can tell you that for a fact. Where people feel the fact that I'm a man, a firstborn man, and I didn't grow up with a father, there's already something wrong with my upbringing. And that's the narrative that I feel like the Kenyan society is still in. So when I got to a point where I realized that I'm growing up in a patriarchal society where my upbringing already is a problem.
It's in question.
Yes, it's in question of kwani alilelewa aje, you get. So I set out to look for my father figure, and now that's my mentor who has been through me the past 2 years, has been my whole money situation. I go to him. When I'm going through relationship issues, I go to him. You know, when I'm trying to nurture my entrepreneurship, I go to him. I'll still go to my mom because I still need my mom who has been there with me. But yes, I do believe that he's been of help the past 2 years, but the 18 years of my life, my mom has done an impeccable job.
And this is just a bonus.
Yes.
Beautiful. I love to hear that. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with anyone's childhood because circumstances are different.
Yes.
And I disagree with anyone who thinks that this is wrong because you are not there. You don't
I was not
know.
there.
You don't.
Mi siku hapo watu wawili wakijipanga.
Hapo wakijipanga, you
yes.
get it. But talking of which, I love what you've said. You know, you go to your mentor for the money matters and everything, right? And I started this by saying, Shawn has publicly declared he cannot do a 9 to 5. Shawn, what's wrong with a 9 to 5? And why is Shawn not an advocate of a 9 to 5?
Okay. So this conversation happened with an amazing lady called Patricia Ithao, and she was also stunned by my statement. And I would like to first of all say, I respect people who do 9 to 5. I'm not telling anyone to not do a 9 to 5. Please don't quit your job on my account. And I made it very clear. I, as Shawn Dalmas, do not want to do a 9 to 5. Not that Gen Zs don't want to do a 9 to 5. There are people who respect that and they love that and that works for them and that is fine. However, in my perspective, number one, I've grown up with a mother who does not do a 9 to 5. Exactly. So my upbringing and where I am right now, I was destined to not want a 9 to 5. Seeing my mom stay home and work from home and work 3 hours a day and still earn a living, that's what I've been brought up with. You get? That's number one. Number two, I tried a 9 to 5. I was doing an internship at a law firm when I had just finished high school. And no. No. Because there's no way you want to tell me I will sit at a desk and I'm not doing anything. Let's be real, guys. Let's be real. You want to tell me every single day, 30 days, actually it's not 30 days, it's 21 when you remove the weekends. It's 21 days of the month. Every day you did something. You actually want to tell me every day you did something. You tried a 9 to 5.
In my desk, in my, no.
Did you every day?
No.
Exactly.
Actually, sometimes I would watch movies.
Exactly.
But I gotta be there, Shawn. They'll fire me if I leave early. And if I come late.
Thank you. No, that's where I was going. Where people say a 9 to 5 is security, but you can get fired. So is it really security or is it comfort? Is it? Is it really security or is it comfort? Comfort of knowing even if I don't work, I'll still get money at the end of the month. Is it really security or is it comfort? Because when you look at people who do, let's leave alone entrepreneurship because people are so loud in saying that entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Let's look at people who do consultancies. If they don't do the work, they don't get paid. Right? So those ones have to do the job. You who works a 9 to 5, the days that you don't have projects happening, you can decide not to work, but you're in the office, but you still get paid. Is it security? Or is it comfort?
Comfort.
Exactly. I don't think I have so much energy. Lynn, let me tell you, I have so much energy. You asked me why I do so many things. It's because the free time I have, my mind just keeps rolling. keeps rolling. Because I feel like a 9 to 5 would be a waste of my potential. This is no shade to people who do a 9 to 5. Again, I respect people who do a 9 to 5. If that works for you, honey, keep on doing. But for me, I believe there's so much potential in me that I can fulfill, and my self-appreciation, you know, that when you feel like you've done something with your life, I would not feel that if I do a 9 to 5. I would not feel that.
Yeah.
I want to feel like I've done something great in my journey. I want to feel like I've accomplished something great, and I cannot do that when I'm working for someone else. That cannot happen. I want to feel like I sat with myself and I built this. You know, if it's in my media journey when I'm consulting for social media or campaigns, I want to feel like I built something from the ground up, and this is my produce. And I can say, Shawn Dalmas, I did this. I can't do that if I'm doing a 9 to 5 because I am fulfilling someone else's dream. I'm not fulfilling mine. I have a big dream in my head that cannot be accomplished by working for someone else.
Yeah.
And that was my standpoint.
Wow. But then some people say you Gen Zs are just hard to work with. You come to the office, you have attitude, you come... Celine, why are you laughing? You come to the office, you have attitude, you are given projects, you won't finish.
Let me put it this way.
Yes.
Let me give you two employees, right? Employee A and employee B.
Yeah.
Employee A comes to the office 9 to 5, right? However, does not complete projects. They can come, a project you've given it to be done in 2 weeks, they'll take a month. And that's because, let's say, their brain doesn't work in the afternoon well. They only work between early mornings, right? But you force this person to come to the office at 8 or at 9, and they should leave at 5, right? And then there's employee B. Employee B who works amazingly well between the hours of 3 a.m. and 10 a.m. And that's me, actually. I'm using my... You too?
Yes.
Works best between 3 a.m. in the morning
and 10.
And 10.
Me, it's 12. 3 to 12.
So between these two employees, I can guarantee you employee B will produce that work in less than the 2 weeks that you've given. Why? Because they are working within their time schedule. They are working because they've analyzed themselves and they know that they work better between the times of 3 a.m. and 10 a.m. The reason I'm saying this is even because when I was in high school, do you know I used to sleep a lot in class? Oh my good Lord. I used to sleep a lot in class. And why? Because I used to wake up at 2. I would study from 3. Yeah. And by the time it reaches lunchtime, mini kisha kula lunch.
Kwisha.
Lynn, I'm gone.
We are done.
I am gone.
Hi,
and
Muga.
by the time results were coming out at the end of high school and I've scored straight A's and I've topped my class, everyone is like, how? Because I used to sleep in class, but they didn't know the work that was going on behind it.
Yes.
That's the point I'm trying to see. Gen Zs are the type of people who they work better at certain times. I have a friend, actually not a friend, someone who is working with me as I'm building my company. Yes. He works at night. During the day, I will not call him, I will not email, I will not ask for what I need. I won't. However, when I'm waking up at 4, because I wake up at 4, he's already sent me emails at 10, 11, midnight, 1. He's already sent me emails. All the work that I asked him to do, he's done. All the produce that I've asked him to get, it's done. And during the day, he will sleep. Wasn't the work done?
It was done.
Exactly. But employers right now, and it's okay, employers currently 90%, actually 99.9% of them right now in the Kenyan market are millennials or Gen Xers or boomers.
Yes. And
that's understandable because you guys are the ones who have built the country. You're the ones who have built the structures that we have currently right now. And congrats to that. Wonderfully well. And as someone said in my comment that we are feeding from your... It's okay. I mean, what was the point of building it if we were not supposed to benefit from it? You're expecting to build it and then only you benefit. See, of course, even us were supposed to benefit from it. So, and congrats to those generations who have built structures that are functioning right now. However, the older generations need to unlearn how work is being done and they need to relearn the fact that there are different ways of working, there are different ways of achieving tasks that can get work done. And it also took my mom a while to realize that. Right now she's in consulting.
Yes.
And do you know my mom will wake up at 10, she will shower, she will have breakfast, she'll watch an episode of her favorite show, she will work between 1 p.m. and 3, and she's closed office. And she will still get her money.
Can I come live with you guys?
Well, you get my point.
Yes.
So working the reason working a 9 to 5 doesn't necessarily assure you that
Of
you
results.
of results.
Work smart, not hard.
Exactly, work smart, not hard.
Man.
Yeah.
So what are your nini of a toxic work environment? How does a toxic work environment look like for? Because people are saying, also you Gen Zs are like, okay, may I quit? That was a toxic working environment. Okay, I quit. That was another toxic
now, you see,
working
there,
environment.
There I feel like it's more personal to everyone.
Yes.
Because I hear these complaints about the whole Gen Z that we are hard to work with, that we are difficult. Some have said that we are arrogant, and etc. etc. But I feel like, let me ask you something.
Yes.
You have a personal life that does not revolve around your work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
There are people who, let me take a corporate woman. She has kids.
Yeah.
She has a husband. And I'm sorry if this offends anyone, but they go through periods, right?
Why should it? We go through them.
Yeah, exactly.
And they are painful sometimes. Yes.
And you go through periods,
Yes.
right? So these are 3 things that you have to worry about every single month.
And thank you for putting that one also as a priority.
It is. I don't know why people...
I don't know why people downplay it.
It shouldn't.
It shouldn't.
Because, I feel like it's downplayed by the male gender because they don't go through it. It is a necessity. It is an everyday part of your lives. That is what you go through, right? So you have these 3 things. Now let's take a man. Kids, wife, what's the third thing? Nothing. His mental health, football, or something, etc., etc. So let's add those fun things that make a man feel like a man. So let's put all of you equal, right? Now, if you're taking me to a work environment where I'm required to neglect these 3 things because of work, which is one thing, that is where the toxicity comes in. Wow. Because there's no way you can expect me. And I find these stories actually coming from people who work at law firms, corporate world, where they usually, someone would say, let's say for example, I have a funeral coming up and their boss would say, we are busy, so we need you at the office. So I don't go for my funeral because wewe unataka pesa na kuna mtu amekufa. But you see, when you guys were being raised up, it was like, amesha kufa. So why else? Why would you get? So the narrative is not, that's the narrative you're trying to switch.
Different.
Because if you expect me to neglect my family and we are mourning because you want money, I'm not coming.
I quit. Hamuogopi mtatoa wapi pesa?
Security or comfort? You get? So yes, I do understand maybe the thing of toxic work environment has been exaggerated a lot. And I've never experienced a toxic work environment actually. Because even with the creator, I work in the creative space. It's always fun and games and all that. And maybe kuna tu iyo the gossiping between influencers and it might just feel a tad bit. I've learned my ropes kidogo.
Yes.
You guys are like, we are work buddies. We are not friends. I think that's something I've come to learn recently.
Gossip.
Yes, we can't just gossip. But toxic work environments are there. I'd say personally, I've seen my mom go through it. Where she used to work for an organization based in Ireland, where she got into depression, a very hard time for her. And that was the time I told her, wacha nikuulize, ukiacha kazi leo, utadedi? That's what I asked her. And I asked her, and she was like, oh, but that's what's paying the bills, yada, yada. And I was like, we got this. It's never that serious.
For real?
Because I feel like people put themselves in situations where they look at the money, and it's fine. And again, someone might think I'm speaking from a point of privilege, but the moment you see your loved one going through mental health issues because of a paycheck, that's when you realize that money, it's not that worth it, you know. You get, because it's not worth being called in the middle of the night and being shouted at by your boss because you've not delivered something. Because that's what I brought in the aspect of your personal lives.
Yes.
You might wake up today and you're going through your periods and it's so painful you can't leave bed. But your boss won't understand that.
So you come work.
So you come work in a bad mood. Na bado atarudi kukushautia.
Yes.
And then when you try to explain ati, I was going through this hapo ndo wataanza, you could have asked for leave. You could have, and I'm like, if I did then, you wouldn't. You get? So the work environment, and that's why I feel like I can't do it, because the work environment has a lot of double standards. What I should do, I can't do because of what you'll say. And if I don't do it, you'll also react this way because you would have expected me to do this. No. Honey, no. Apana.
Oh man, it's that bad.
I'm that type of person. I don't need to go through it myself for me to say I can't go. I don't want it. I've had it from my mom. I've had it from a friend. I've had it from a colleague. I don't need to go through it. That's why we were told, experience should not be your teacher.
Yes.
Learn from other people's stories. So if you're waiting to experience it yourself, please go. But Mimi, I'm not. Personally, I don't think my heart can take going through such an environment for me now to come back and tell you guys, so the work environment is not good. No! Lee, no.
Wash on. You even got the face for it. So the work.
No, we are not doing that.
Yeah. So you guys don't worry if today you have money. You don't worry if you lack food.
It is a worry. It is a
okay,
worry.
okay.
I do understand. It is a worry, and I understand economic-wise, especially right now. Kwa hii economy ya Kasongo. There are tough times and things get hard, especially for people who have families depending on them back home.
Yes.
That's that. I mean, we live in Kenya. We hear these stories. We know such things happen where you've been taken to Nairobi to work and they expect you. They've put in a lot of investment in you to come back home and support them. And that's understand. And that's why I said, for people who there's security, the comfort of working a 9 to 5. If you feel that's the best way possible for you, please do it. Because I don't know what the situation is back home. If the guarantee of 150,000 monthly is better for you and works for you and your family back home, because if I leave my mother's house right now and I'm flourishing and I go build my own family, etc., I'm not expected to take money back home. That's not an expectation I feel like I would. For real? Yes, I will not be. One thing I remember last year when I scored another brand deal, and it was good money. Okay. It was good money, and I was telling my mom, so from this money I will give you this much. Akaniuliza, kwa nini? She was like, because we live together and maybe you might need money and I just want to give you. It's like, no, that's something that you've worked with. I've taken you to the best of schools for you to accomplish your dream, not for me to live my dream through you. Oh my goodness. So black tax does not apply to you. Oh, black tax it's never been applied to me. And I feel like maybe that's what very many Kenyans would be going through, where you feel the need to give back home because they invested in you. And again, if that's your situation and that works for you, I respect that. However, for me, I've not been brought up in such an environment where I need to. I don't need to. If I want to, sure. If I don't need to, why should I? You get? And that comes into play. For example, I'll get a little bit personal, is my mom recently had surgery and we were covering the hospital bill. And I was like, she had paid a few, some money in the deposit, and then later on we were paying the balance, and I covered and I offered to chip in into it. I wasn't required to. She was gladly able to pay it. But out of the volition of my heart, I decided to chip in. You get? But for different families, it would be, oh, madhe ako hospitali, so tafuta 200,000. Sa hiyo ushaanza kurukwa na kichwa of where to find the money. You get? So I've not been brought up in that situation.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and later on, I would not have to go through that. And I thank God for that. However, for those who are going through that, I respect that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good, because different experiences.
Yes, different experiences, different backgrounds.
Can you repeat that? Your mom said, I raised you to live.
I raised you, I took you to the best of schools to accomplish your dream, not for me to live my dream through you.
So profound.
Yes.
That is so powerful. I wish so many children can hear that right now from their parents, because I'm of the opinion, some of the parents are raising assets.
Wali invest, so wanangoja dividends yanze kulipa. Zile like nilikupeleka shule, nilikupeleka shule, nikalipa school fees, nangoja dividends, nangoja. So kila mwezi and I've seen that live from my friends who are in uni, who got their first paychecks and they've already told me, oh, I have to remit like 20% of my salary back home. And that works for them. And I respect such people, because they maybe see the effort that their parents putting into their lives and bringing them up to where they are. Yeah. And they want to give back home. And like I said, I was willing to do that until I was told it's not needed. Yes. You get?
That's not for you. But
it's not for me.
Like you can do it.
Yes,
but
if you feel like you can do
it.
Yeah, it's not a requirement. Sometimes I might be in the mall and I've gone to shop for my minor. Maybe nimeenda tu kununua CeraVe, nimeenda tu kununua sabuni ya kuoga.
Do it, Shawn. I see what you're doing, Shawn.
But then I just be at Carrefour and I'll call my mom. Oh, is there anything you need from the supermarket? And then she tell me, you're at the supermarket? Cool. Buy milk, buy this, come with them home. I was not required to do it. Yes. I did it out of the volition of my heart. Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Beautiful. So how does respect look to you and your generation maybe? Because like recently, as you said, you called out someone who was trying to, how can I say it, who was trying to shame you or probably say things that you don't stand for. And you took your phone and you recorded. And
in the most respectful way possible.
You came correct. Yes. So, looking at it, this person is older than you, Shawn.
Yes.
Why are you talking to your elders?
Now, let's get one thing straight. She was... I'm trying to find a good word to say it, but maybe she was very ready to come at my content for no particular reason. Shawn was just chilling in his house. Yes. You know, it's my mom who sent it to me. My mom woke up in the morning and was like, Shawn, you're being talked about by some woman. And I'm like, who's that? So very many people were sending the videos. That day, oh my God, my phone was blowing up. So I'm like, okay. So I watched the video. I watched the video and I got to understand, one, she was trying to get clout out of my content because I didn't know who she was up until that video. That's one thing. So my response to her was, and like I said, it was very respectful because I didn't argue, I didn't shout, I didn't insult her in any way possible. I was simply, and I made it very clear in the start of the video, my shoes are original, yours are counterfeit. Let's end it there. And the reason why I responded to the video at first is because I felt like, at what point did she feel that she has the right to comment or make such comments on my video just for the purposes of selling her products? Because so many people are in the comments ati, oh, unaribia mtu biashara. Yeye hakuwa ananiharibia mimi content. True. You get. And even after my video, then she went ahead to now make another video saying that nimepanda pressure, I'm shouting too much. A video that now I didn't respond to because now I saw she's stooping low. I'm not stooping lower.
And when they go low?
I go high. And I feel like now that's where the respect played a part. I decided, let me respect the place you are in your life. Because it seems the place you are in your life is arguing with a 20-year-old. But the place I am in my life is not arguing with a 30-plus-year-old woman about shoes. Honey, I'm sorry. I am bigger than that. The place here in my life is not arguing with a 30-plus-year-old woman. It was just not going to happen. Because then we would have gotten into a social media beef.
Yes.
I would have been posted in Sijui, Nairobi Gossip Club, Nairobi what? And I was like, I don't want this. I don't want this. You get, this is not what I signed up for when I was entering content. I signed up to make content, to inspire people, and to grow lives. Not to come and argue with a 30-year-old woman on social media about shoes. You get? So I decided to respect her for where she is at the point in her life. And I decided to respect myself and move on with my life. Because the following day was my birthday. Oh, and I had an amazing party and life was well and my life continued.
Yes. And your life continued.
Yes.
Man, that is now respect.
Exactly.
Do you think us old people, man, I feel too old, Shawn, we have a problem with taking positive criticism? Do you encounter that because you are 20, you are Gen Z, don't tell me. I've gone through this journey. I know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
what are you telling me? Umekuja juzi.
Yes. No, actually, I'll take that in a more positive sector.
Yes.
Let's not talk about positive criticism.
Yes.
Let's talk about the job aspect, where I feel like the older generation don't like taking ideas from even Gen Zs, because they would go about to say, I've been in this industry for a while. What advice do you have to tell me? I was supposed to be at a panel last year of a conference that was happening in South Africa, and I was debriefing with one of the gentlemen who are putting the panelist, and I was shooting out facts in the interview. I was like, we should talk about this. We should talk about this. Youth people should be in this space, and I feel like youth years are between 20 and 35.
Yes.
So I think in his head, he thought like I'm 29, 30. Then he asked for my details, and I was telling him I'm 19. And he was like, I'm sorry, you're a teenager and you want to talk about these certain topics because you're calling yourself a youth. But I was like, I am a youth. So even after spitting out clear facts, notes that would make sense in your panel, you didn't see me fit to be on it because of my age. Wow. You get? So I feel like and he went on to say, what do you have to say that the older generation don't understand? What do you have to say that older men who have been through this cannot talk about? You get? So he's now started down, because in his head, I think he was trying to make me talk about what asset am I to them. But in actual sense, he was trying to downplay what I have to say. You get? Because alikuwa hapo, no, I'm just trying to see of what added value are you to us.
Yeah.
I'm like, exactly. By the time you were coming to me, you already knew my value add. But until I told you my age, now is then you're like, no, it won't make sense. Really?
Honey?
Really? No! You get my point?
Yeah.
So yes, I do feel the older generation need to loosen up a little bit. Come on. Because times are changing. And as much as educated as you can be, and I respect that of those people who have degrees, masters, PhDs, but sometimes someone who hasn't achieved the much you have achieved have an added thing to say.
Oh man.
Yeah. So when it comes to older people taking criticism
or even advice from us, it's as if ni kama kuna vile inafinya ego zenu. Shawn bana, useme ego zao.
Zao.
Mi wase staki.
I don't understand that, because I've grown up with a mom who I advise her and we advise each other on very many things, because there was a day we were at the dinner table and she had just had me on a call with someone in the media space, and I was talking about social media campaign we were planning, and she's in the advocacy space, and she was also planning a social media campaign sometime last year, and she was like, oh, I've just had you planning a social media campaign and I'm also trying to do the same. Would you advise me on how to go to do 1, 2, 3, because she doesn't know anything about content and social media. And we sat down, I gave her a social media plan, I told her what she can do, what she can give to her comms person, this is how you go about it, this is how you do, different things, how you can plan content, reels, posting. That's a 40-something-year-old woman who's taking advice from a 19-year-old. What's the difference? She got what she wanted, which was a campaign strategy. She got what she wanted, and the campaign went super.
Yes.
She would have decided, unisho nimemlea ni nini yenye anajua yenye mimi sijui. You get?
Yes.
And that's my own mom, who she's raised me. She knows my brain in and out. But some people grow up thinking that because they are older, they have wisdom, that they are the best at it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they are.
And
that's why I was still bringing in the concept of meritocracy, where people who have gone through education and they've been in the industry feel as if they have the merit, they're the best people for it. Not really.
Not really.
Not really.
Oh, goodness gracious. So I love that you said also, you know, you are talking to your father figure about certain things, money, relationships, etc. Let's talk about relationship, because also something I've heard is you guys, you're having relationships, right? But marriage and kids are not top of your priority. Is that true?
Wow.
Or speak for yourself.
Yes, let me speak for myself.
Because us, kuna ka age unafika, hii ni age ya hapa, hii nayo ni ya kuolewa, hii nayo ni ya kupata watoto, hii nayo ni ya kupata kitambi, then sasa tuishi. How do you view relationships and what's the end goal here?
Speaking for myself.
Yeah.
Speaking for myself, not Gen
Let them
Z.
quote you on yourself.
Speaking for myself, I feel like, first of all, I'm that type of person who, my OCD, I like planning things. I don't just go into things blindly. So even life, I like planning. I remember in the beginning of the year, I sat down and I planned my whole year. I was like, this is what I'm going to do in January. This is what I'm going to do in February. Well, so of course, I was deemed to plan my life. And I do understand. I know what watakuja kwa comments, or nothing ever goes as planned. I understand that nothing goes as planned. But life without a plan is planning to fail. So in my view of my relationship aspect in life and the whole kid situation, I do want kids. I want 6 bouncy baby boys and girls. I want so many children. Oh my goodness, if I could adopt. There's this American celebrity who just adopts children. I am in awe of who she is, because if I had that kind of money, I would adopt. I love children. I love children so much. And maybe it's I don't know where it came from, but I love kids. And so I do want children. You know, compared to very many Gen Zs who would say they don't want kids, they just want to build their life, or like they want kids when they are 40. I want kids. I want to marry. I want to have a loving family. And maybe that's the traditional part of me. And maybe I would say that's because maybe I didn't have that, because I didn't have a dad. You know, we didn't grow up in a full house. I'm putting in air quotes because my house was full. You get. So maybe that's where it stems from. But I know I would love to marry. I would love to have children. I would love to have a wholesome life that I feel there's love, there's happiness. And there's a time for that. Right now, I am so focused on building my career and building who I am. I remember the end of last year, I was making a 5-year plan of my life. I was like, the United Nations have this thing about 2030, SDG 20. I was like, by the time nyinyi mnafika hiyo 20, hizo SDG zenu, nafika na nyinyi na life yangu. Because I was sitting down and the reason why I did that is because I sat down and looked at my life 5 years ago. 5 years ago, what many may call a high school dropout, because I decided to drop out of high school Form 1.
Wait,
yes, what? I dropped out of high school. I went back before you go. I went back. I started Form 1 until I got to a point and I was like, this is not working, guys. And I had a very reasonable parent who allowed, unataka kukaa nyumbani? Kaa nyumbani. And I stayed home a whole year figuring out stuff. And luckily for me, the following year was COVID, so I had 2 years. So I had 2 years all to myself, just doing nothing. But I was not doing nothing. I was planning my life.
Yes, the sweetness of doing nothing.
Exactly. So, and when I was looking at my life then, and I'm looking at my life now, even my relatives say I've made a whole 360. because I was the child who no one saw a future of. No one could sit down and everyone was saying, huo mtoto ashaenda, huo asharibika. In the family, I was what they call the black sheep. And it was very saddening, even especially for my mom, because you know this thing about relatives, wakiongea, the things they say.
It gets to you.
Yes, it gets to you. And at some point, it did get to my mom. However, she still supported me through it, and that was the time. And I can say I would not be where I am right now if it weren't for those 2 years. The reason why I'm saying that is because normally when you finish high school, now in your 18, 19, 20 is when you just do nothing.
Yes.
You go partying,
Yes.
you go clubbing.
Yes.
I did that then.
Good.
I did that when I was 14, 15, and Elisha.
Yeah.
And right now, how focused I am, how everyone is like, how have you achieved the much you've achieved at 19? It's because I had my time to waste time.
Yeah.
And looking back right now, at some point I do regret. I won't lie. I do regret. And that's because I'm 20 and I'm in A levels. That's Form 5 and Form 6. Yes. I'm still in Form 6 and I'm 20.
Yeah.
While my peers are in second year of university or third year of university. And I tell myself, if I didn't waste away those 2 years, maybe I would be in university. But looking at the pros of it, I have accomplished so much than what my peers have achieved, and it outweighs the cons. It literally, when I was giving gratitude to God for the far I've come, I was looking at all the bumps I've had, and I was like, it doesn't even equate to what I have right now, because that was my time to mess up, and now is my time to build and flourish and just see where I want to be in the next 5 years. So my planning of my 5 years was stemming from my nostalgia of my before 5 years, of looking at 2020, 2021 when I was in high school. What was I doing? What was I rebuilding? Because I remember when I went back to school, I was so determined to rebuild what I'd lost, because I did Form 2, Form 3, Form 4 in 2 years. I did Form 2, Form 3, Form 4 in 2 years.
Someone can do that?
I did that.
Okay.
2021 and 2022, I finished my IGCSEs, and then I joined A levels because I was like, I don't have time to waste. I need to rush this thing and finish. You get? And that was, I remember when I was in high school, I was telling myself, we gotta recover. We gotta recover. Yeah. You get? So as I was planning my 5 years, I was telling myself, this is my time to build. I've been rebuilding. I was rebuilding what I lost. I was rebuilding the time I lost in high school.
And that structure is
and
complete.
That structure is complete. I have a set structure that someone can say, oh, Shawn alipitia high school. You get? Right now is my time now to build. And I can tell you, I am more than determined to build what I want and where I see myself. It is so hard for me. I feel, because you've told me you watch my videos, you know, with the whole waking up, going to the gym, doing work, going to study. Yes, it is so hard for someone to break my routine. It's gonna take a miracle for someone to come into my life and break that routine, because what I've been through and where I want to go, it's not going to be built with lazing around, with saying, nilifanya jana, si leo ni tu. No, it's not going to be built by that. So, running back to your question about relationships, maybe other Gen Zs don't want, but I want.
You want.
I want an amazing family. Like I said, 6 Gen. Sijina nenda kuzaa. But I hope for whoever will see this and whoever is going to see this, whoever is going to see this should be aware that I want 6 children.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
I feel like I'm not going I'm not going to be that person who sees what other people have and saying, I want. I'm going to be that person who says, I'm going to get.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. Man, I love when you spoke about routine. I'm a huge believer routines are important.
Yes.
I advocate for routines because just like you, I had to sit and just be like, oh no, that's so much. I don't think there's anything as wasted time. I feel like what you need to learn, you will learn.
Oh, yes, you will.
It doesn't matter how you will learn. You will learn. But are there instances where I feel like I dwelled so much on something for so long? Absolutely. That I should have moved on real quick and not stayed at that place, you know. And I feel like that's interesting because I had a guest here who said, it's okay, go through rock bottom. It's okay. Spend time in rock bottom. Spend your 5 minutes, spend your 10 minutes, analyze the situation, see what your role is or was in the place you're in, and then rise up. And then rise up. So I don't know how to feel about your 2-year gap because I feel like it was your greatest blessing. I feel like it was your greatest blessing. I don't know whether when students come out of primary school, they should just do a year or two figuring out what do I want. I don't know. I don't know if
that's going to be a very difficult conversation with the parents we have right now. You can imagine going to your parents. So I'm thinking of taking a gap year.
I don't know, but I feel like it's something that...
I have friends who have done the same.
Yeah, I feel
I wasn't the only one actually that took a gap year.
Yeah. I feel like...
there was a friend of mine who also took a gap year, and his gap year he went to do football.
Yeah.
After primary, he was like, I don't want to go study. I want to play football. Sometimes all it takes is giving your child what they want before they figure out what exactly they need. Wow. Yes. Because trust you me, if I didn't have those 2 years to mess up, I would be, I don't know where I would be. Yeah. So my mom sees my 2-year gap as a blessing.
I think
right now she sees it because she says if you wouldn't have gone through it, right now is when you'd be doing those things. Yeah.
I feel so. I don't know, maybe parents who are watching, you can tell me what are your views on gap years. But I don't know why I would consider it for my children.
I would also consider it for my children.
That for my children.
Because I've seen how it helped me. Because I was also rebellious. I was so rebellious. My mom got tired.
Yes.
You know, tired. Ushaichokesha mzazi. Alichoka. Like, when you're having a conversation with her, she'll tell you.
Yes.
She got exhausted. She was like, sikuambi tena. You know what?
Yeah.
Funzwa, let the world teach you.
Yes.
And I feel like I was also lucky because she didn't just throw me to the wolves. When I would mess up in something, she'd correct me. She was like, ni sawa uko gap here, but hii tunafanya kweli. Come on, let's not do this. Yeah.
And I love what you said, you know, drawing your 5-year plan. And I remember before we started rolling, I asked you like, Shawn, what do you want to do? And media is very, very important to you. So do you want to put up a network?
Yes. I'm currently in the process of building my own media company.
Beautiful.
And that's because I feel like I remember in the podcast I was with Patricia Ithao and Temina Semo, I was saying that Gen Zs are good in storytelling. That is one aspect that I feel I've seen with other Gen Zs. They are good in storytelling. And I would like to amplify that message in my media company, whether it's through content, whether it's through engagements, whether it's through, you know, if I get to mainstream media, well and good.
Yeah.
You know, you never know where opportunities take you. But at this particular moment, media has been a huge aspect in the last 2 years ever since I finished high school, because I never saw myself in media actually. As I'm applying to schools, I've been applying to law schools. You see how those two worlds are, you get. So it's now recently where I've sat down and I'm like, maybe I should go do media because I've been in this space. I'm learning the roots. Yeah, exactly. And it, not to brag, but it comes naturally.
No, true. No.
It
and
comes
I affirm that.
Yes,
like,
it comes
honestly,
naturally
it is
to
so
me.
Natural.
You know, even when I was getting the call to come for the podcast, I was like, oh, this is easy. Yeah. Like, you get, I didn't sit down. Do I need a script? No, I was like, this is a natural aspect of what I do, and it's just gonna flow. So media is something I would like to see where it's gonna take my entrepreneurship journey.
Okay.
You know, apart from media, you know, there are different aspects where I love spreading the message. And what I'm trying to say is comms.
Yes.
I'm trying to tap into reaching out to the NGO space and being their comms person, because spreading a message, you know, through campaigns, through social media campaigns, that's a huge aspect that we have right now, because a lot can be done from your phone.
Yes.
A lot can be done from TikTok, from
Yes.
Instagram, from etc. You know, some people, my organization, the Empowerment Network, we are planning a social media campaign for Women's Day, and it's a whole campaign is being done on social. You get, we're just going to go on Instagram live and just talk, and the message will still hit home.
Yes.
You get my point?
I get it.
So yeah, I've seen what media can do, and I've seen where it can take me and my peers.
Yes.
And I want to be on the forefront of it. Yeah.
I love that, and you're so natural at it. Just in case, you know, I know you did not need any affirmation, but
Yeah.
you know, you're just so really good at it, right?
Yeah.
I want to wind up. Truthfully, you're someone I would love to speak with the whole Miss Kumuki nikicheka hivi, like honestly, but please let me not wind up before you say anything you feel like, Lynn. I don't want to leave this space before I say it. Feel free.
I will touch on something that I usually read comments, by the way, on my TikTok. I don't just ignore. Sometimes people think, oh, you ignored my comments.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Because there was a day I was in town and someone who was like, oh my God, you're Shawn Dalmas. And I was like, oh my God, this actually happens.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, and I commented on your video and you did not see. And I'm like, oh, sometimes I actually do see. I just scroll past.
Yes.
And recently I've seen, I was seeing a comment where people kept on saying, kwani mimi niko 19 gani? The time I was shouting a lot,
Yes.
the life of a Kenyan 19-year-old.
Yes.
Everyone, so many people kept on saying, kwani mimi niko
Utoki
19 gani?
Yeah.
No, they were asking for themselves. I'm 19 and I've not done this. I'm 19 and I'm not doing this. And what I'd like to say is, when it's your time, and I think I've said this, when it's your time, no one can stop it. So don't look at someone else's life and feel because you're the same age, you should be there. Not really. But that is a very huge misconception, and I'd like my peers to not look at life that way. Because, and I think this is the first time I'm publicly sharing that I dropped out of high school at some point, and now is when they're understanding why I've gotten to what I'm doing right now. It's because the years of work that went behind building me, the years of mistakes that went behind building me, the years of, you know, advice from people, the years of sitting down with myself and saying, I need to put in effort. Shawn, we need, tunajiita mkutano. You get, you don't see that. You don't see that. And at some point I wanted to, let's also start talking about it on my platform, because I felt like my videos at some point started spreading the wrong message that at 19, you should be doing this. That's not the message I was trying to say. For me, it was because I was at a point in my life where I was like, my life is going okay. For like, when I started making those videos, when I started myself and I was like, damn, nimetoka pali nilikuwa. You get, I'm no longer rebuilding.
Yes,
I'm now building
again.
Exactly. And that was when I started feeling proud of my accomplishments. You know, I remember I did a video where I was putting my certificates on the wall, and someone was like, is there any 51 certificates kwa ukuta? You get, so the one thing I'd like to tell my peers is, just because you're seeing other people do something at the age that you're in does not mean that you should be doing that. It's something that you should look up to doing when the time is right for you. Yes.
Deep. Huh? Thanks for mentioning the certificates, because personally I've had issues acknowledging my wins. Like I even tell my audience, it took us how long? 6 months. 6 months to even tell people we got our gold button. Like, cause sometimes you don't know where to draw the line. Should I celebrate this? Will people think this is pride or whatever?
Oh my goodness, this is a huge achievement.
Yeah, but you know, it's good to meet people who have started celebrating
Yes,
their
so that
win.
you feel because you should feel proud of what you've done, because you've done it. People were with you as you were building it, and I feel like celebrating your win. Something we do with my mom is when I get a new certificate or a new win or a new brand deal, we pop a champagne.
Wow.
Because it's only the two of us and God who know where we've come from and where we are going. So sometimes it just takes sitting back with yourself and saying, you got this.
You got this.
Yes.
Beautiful. I know maybe mom might get to watch this.
Definitely.
Please watch. But what would you, maybe looking at that camera, what would you want to tell mom?
I remember, I didn't need to be told this, but when someone else says it, it makes me sit down and I'm like, God damn. When I was doing my logo design for my media, I sent it to someone who has worked with mom before, who did her match for her organization as she was working. And he told me, oh, I saw your mom posting your achievement recently. Congratulations. And he was like, you should know your mom loves you very much. Very, very much. And is proud of you. And sometimes I know I see her posting on my on her status. I'm like,
Mom.
Wacha. Unaongea sana.
Unachoma wewe.
But the support. Let me tell you, I've had stories out here of people who say, oh, content is not job. You should go be a doctor. You should be a lawyer. Their path has been set out for them. But the freedom that my mom gave me to make my own path. This is content and media and influence was never something we ever spoke about. But right now, dare I say ati naacha. Ni jaribu tu kusema ati ni kazi mingi, wacha ni. She would never allow me. But the love, that's why I kept on saying I've grown up in a loving home. The love that my mom has given me and my younger sister, the household that we've grown up in to be ourselves and grow into the people that we want to become, it's immensely, like I would not be where I am without my mom. I would not. I keep actually at some point I started saying I would not even be where I am if I grew up with my dad. The reason me growing up with my mom alone was more of a blessing. Yeah.
Beautiful. I hope she gets to hear that,
Yeah.
And I love that the way you've said, like what saddens me is when I get an email and someone says, Lynn, I want to do media. I went to school, I studied medicine, but this is not what I want. I just did this for my parents, but now I want to do media because I feel like this is what I was meant to be. Meant to be. Saddens me a lot.
Because I feel like a lot of pressure has been put on several people growing up where they felt like they had to accomplish again, your parents are living their dream through you.
Yes.
Because some of those people, their parents aren't doctors, but I saw this on TikTok actually today morning where someone was saying we are so keen on who we take our financial advice from, where we take our relationship advice from. But for some reason, we take our career advice from our parents. For some reason, we take because we say we only take financial advice from millionaires because they've made it, or relationship advice from Steve Harvey because he had an amazing marriage. You get, but your career advice, for some reason, you take it from your parents, and yet, no offense, but 90% of those parents do not even have the career that they're making you go into. Yes. But they keep on saying it will be good for you. How do you know what will be good for me?
And you've not
even been there.
So you're gonna live vicariously through me?
Exactly.
No.
I feel like some parents live their dream through their children. Yeah. And that's something that my mom has never put pressure on me on. Good. That feeling of they have, because they didn't accomplish it, they want to accomplish it through me.
No.
That's not a fulfilling life for a child.
Yeah. Wrong. Huh?
And maybe I'm not a parent. I don't know what it's like to be a parent.
I think you don't have to be one to say when something is wrong. I think it's wrong. Because you are you. I'm me.
Exactly.
Yes, I came out of you, but I am me. Can I live my life, please?
Exactly.
Can I live my not our life, but my life. But Shawn, thank you so much. I know you have quite a lot of fans on your social platforms. What would you love to tell them? Anyone that has supported you, shared your work, also clients who have given you deals. Shawn, I honestly don't want to ask how much money is in influencing, but I'm trying to be very, what is it? Stuck in Yambiwe, you generation. Yeah, so I'm really treading carefully.
But you're in the space. You do know how much we make.
Who? You don't moving on. What do you want to tell your fans? And your supporters, anyone who loves you, vouches for you, and people who have even, people like CeraVe. Guys, by the way, this is not, I know Shawn works with CeraVe. I do not work with CeraVe, but I feel like through him, I've learned that it's okay for you to walk a journey with someone and trust them. So in case you want to go get yourself something from CeraVe, this is free ad. They've not paid me, but go get it.
Yeah.
And say, by the way, get it because Shawn came to our show. Just get it because Shawn is on our show, guys. Yeah, support it because Shawn is on our show. But people like CeraVe who have supported you and other brands that have supported you, what do you want to say?
There are no words that can go to people who have seen my potential and have decided to tap into it.
Yes.
And I'll double down to one agency, Dentsu.
Yes.
Dentsu have been an amazing partner in my content journey. They recently launched their Dentsu School of Influence, where they're trying to teach influence young people to join the influence house world. And I was invited, and I was just I had a moment of, damn, these people have actually taken me through content. We've worked together for, it's not even a year yet, but the much that they've given me, the much opportunity that they've laid out for me to grab on the table has been amazing. And that profound gratitude also goes to people who follow my content and people who reshare my content. You know, the only way your content is known is by other people sharing with other people and other people. You know, I have those, they're not even people that I know, but I have those people who I see, like I can clearly see on their story. The moment I post a video, they will reshare on their story. The moment I do this, they will reshare. They'll be like, Shawn has posted. Shawn has, oh my good Lord, I love it. I love it so much because it makes me sit down and I'm like, there's someone who actually values. You know, if there's one thing that we always want is someone to value what you do. Not just see, not just comment, but actually see the value in what you do. Yeah. So to my followers, especially followers who were with me as we were starting. I remember, actually it was Val who was telling me, I knew you before you blew up. And I was like, oh, for real? Because now is when people know me. Now is when people are like, Shawn Dalmas. But there are people who have been with me ever since I started content. People, those type of people are the people who you sit down and you're like, you walked with me until to where I am now and where we are heading to. To a point that I'm being called to a podcast by Lynn Ngugi. Come on!
Shawn, guys.
So thank you to all my followers. And thank you to more people who are coming to follow me. And most importantly, thank you to the brands who have seen the potential that I can and the added value that I have in their campaigns, etc.
Love that. And finally, to Shawn, what do you want to say to yourself?
What I'd like to say to myself is, one, we have a long way to go. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There's a long journey of building the empire that we want to create, of who Shawn Dalmas is and the legacy I want to create. So to myself, keep on working. And two, I'd say, hold the hands of the people who support you through. That goes to my mom, goes to my relatives, goes to my younger sister. There was a day she took her laptop and she was like, I want to watch the videos that you've made. It was so cute because I was like, this is a growing teen. She's about to hit teens. She could have just decided to go and watch other people, but she sat down and said, I want to watch the content that my brother put out. You know, when we are about to shoot a podcast episode with my mom, she's like, tell me when you're shooting, I come see. You know, it's so cute. And my friends who always keep on telling me, Shawn, I'm proud of you. You know, I know even once they see this, it's going to be mind-blowing because I've not yet made it public. Yes. And lastly is always remember where you came from and that it's God who has put you and who will take you through to where you want to be.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. Without God, I don't think my family and myself would be where we are today and would be even having the vision we have, you know. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So I'd like to thank God for all the dreams that he puts in my head. And I always trust and believe that it is him that will take me through it and accomplishing it.
Great.
Yes.
I believe that too for myself as well. Want to thank God for coming through.
Yes!
You know? For coming through.
Yes.
But this
because there's some things that happen and you're like, me?
Nah. No.
And I say that a lot because, especially when it comes to brands, because I've never approached a brand. All brands come to me. So I'm like,
me?
Hata nilionekana aje kwa platform yenu.
Waliniona
aje.
There you go. God, sometimes, you know, be at peace. Create a space where you're at peace. And he will come. We as humans, we always feel like we need to go looking and go looking. No. It will. Sometimes it's
God just brings it
he
all
sends
together.
People.
And
these people come.
And there was someone who commented on my video actually, and she texted me. Her name is Nicole Wambui. We went to the same high school but at different times, and she told me, I love what you do, and your name is about to be mentioned in rooms that you've not even stepped foot in. And I recently got a call from an agency, and they wanted I've actually just signed with ALX Africa. Yes. I've just signed with ALX Africa. And the social media manager, her own exact words, ALX wants you. They don't want any other person for this campaign. We suggested other people, but they chose specifically you. And I remember I was so worried when the contract has been taking, and it's because the contract was taking time to come through. And she was like, Shawn, I don't know why you're worried. This thing is yours. Like, there's no other person getting it if it's not you.
Good.
You are the top choice.
Yes.
A company that I only see on social media, a company that I saw the person I look up to in content. Oh my God, shout out to Eli Mwenda. It's the person I look up to in content, who did a partnership with them last year. And I saw the partnership and I was in awe. I was like, oh my good Lord, he works with ALX Africa. And when they reached out to me, I was like, God damn.
Look at God.
Look at God.
Look at God.
So rooms that I would never even think I would be mentioned in.
I'm mentioning your name.
I'm mentioning my name.
Go you, Shawn. Go you. May more come your way.
Amen.
May more come your way. You are obviously and definitely destined for greatness. I hope no one ever dims your light.
Amen.
Not people will try to dim your light. That's a fact. But I hope you never ever give someone the power to dim your light.
Amen.
They can do whatever, but never ever give someone the power to dim your light. And I can't wait for us to meet here a couple of years, maybe next year, and tell me, Lynn, this happened. I love this for you. I love wins for everyone. Because the way you said, please, kama kitu si yako, si yako. Na kama ni yako, it comes full force.
Kuna vitu zingine Gen Zs will try and force utanganga. And that's also happened to me. I tried forcing a deal. Nimengangana. I've made calls. I'm like, do you still want me? Do you still want me? Until I got that someone was like, wait, if this was meant for me,
oh my God,
it would have been mine.
Thanks. You know, that happened to me in my younger years. Since you've clearly made it clear, Lynn, you old people. In my younger years as we wind up, I remember I think I was looking for a job as a waitress in one of the coffee shops here in Kenya. It's very famous.
Umetoka mbali.
Na undio wacha mimi naweza kusaidia hapa na experience. Wewe ongea tu hapo ukiniita sijui aje. Sasa we go for the interviews. They didn't pick me, but they picked my best friend then. And then I'm like, I know they'll still pick. Maybe they didn't see me clearly. Maybe they didn't see the potential in me. I would show up. They had their offices offices here at Westgate. The cafe was at Westgate. I would show up there every time they were having interviews. The person would be like, so ulikuja jana? Yeah, but imagine I can do it. I can do it. And
That
then
must
they
have
would
been
be like, oh my God, shameful too.
Yeah.
Please see me. Please, nipe tu kazi. And I get sometimes the desperation is too much. And I remember taking my car walk from Westgate kwenda kupanda matatu pale Westi. Okay, ni Westi, but penye matatu za kurudi tao zinapandiwangwa. And I was like, Lynn, let it go. Let it go. And I feel if all of us knew that sometimes an opportunity is not yours and it's okay for you to let it go.
Let it go.
And trust you me, few months after that, I got a job in Dubai.
Woo!
And I got so much exposure there.
Nice.
So I feel like I know there are a lot of people watching, and just like you, the way you are saying, you didn't pick me. You are trying to convince people of your value, but you are convincing the wrong people. And you are missing out.
If you need to convince someone to choose you, then you're convincing the wrong person.
Thank you.
That's one. And two, one thing I usually say is, and my partner reminds me of this every day when I lose an opportunity.
Yeah.
Rejection is redirection.
Thank you.
You would never lose an opportunity if there isn't one waiting for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Period. Mic
And
drop.
that's kabisa.
Mic drop. Rejection is
redirection.
My take home.
Yeah.
That's it for me. Shawn, thank you
for
coming.
Thank you for having
me. We've
me.
spent the better part of the morning together.
Yes.
I appreciate you making time for this conversation.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I hope even when it comes out, you watch it, you will love it.
I will
too.
sit down with my family and
watch. Yes. Yeah, but anyways, shall we wind up?
Yes.
Right, so that's just about it, guys. I mean, I've had a very fun conversation, honestly. I love having such conversations that make me laugh, make me reflect, make me remember how old I am, of course. But I love that we get to meet here, and I know we've learned a lot. I know we've unlearned a lot, and I know we continue relearning one story at a time. I don't take my guests who come here for granted. They share their stories, and I know it motivates not just you, but even me personally. So I appreciate them. And honestly, thank you for tuning in. Let me know what your take home has been. Mine is rejection is redirection. Definitely, that's a very strong statement right there. And I hope it applies to everyone, no matter what you're going through in your life. A huge shout out to everyone that gets to watch this and share. Men, mi usema, Lilo unaweza pika chakula na watu wasikule. And I've said I don't take it for granted that we make a meal and you guys come and we share it together. That's not something I take for granted. And I don't take even our sponsors for granted. Kings Developers Limited, we've worked with them quite a while. It's been a couple of years together, and I thank you for every opportunity to be able to represent your brand. So if you're looking into owning an apartment with a very ISO certified real estate company, you see that Prism Towers in Upper Hill, that's their building. Please go there, talk to them, ask them what they have. And if you're thinking of getting an Airbnb or investing, you can also try their vintage apartments. So Muga, the entire team at LNN that gets to come through shooting these, asanteni sana, and I hope I get to see you tomorrow, usual time, 10 a.m. or 7 p.m. Bye-bye.